Installing practice management software in your office is a big decision. The purpose of this video is to help you make the right decision for your office. It's easy just to look at the price tag and think that that is the whole cost. But this is just the cost of acquisition and, on its own, can in fact be misleading. I want to give you a clear understanding of all the real costs so you can make a true comparison. You need to consider all the upfront costs, the fees, and the hidden costs. This is called total cost of ownership, and it's an important concept in business, but one which is frequently overlooked by small businesses, including chiropractors. From this, you then need to subtract the return on your investment, because obviously you buy the software because of what it will do for you. So it's got to be giving you a return to make it worth your while buying in the first place. Some of that return is monetizable, in other words, you can measure it in a dollar value, and some of it is not. And we'll be looking at both of those today. Hi, I'm Dr. Richard Sawyer and I'm the founder of Spinalogic. It's the purpose of my company to make you so satisfied with our product that you'll want to tell your friends even before you get to the point of installing it in your office. I want to give you more time with your family, I want to give you more money, and of course, more fun in practice. I'm going to talk about Spinalogic, some of our competitors, purely in terms of total cost of ownership and return on investment. Of course, there are other very important considerations in making a decision for your office, and I cover them in other videos, but today I'll be confining myself to talking just about total cost of ownership and return on your investment. So first, let's take a look at actual costs. They're made up of your purchase price, installation fees, data conversion fees, any monthly leasing fee, monthly support fee, hardware costs, and of course your consumable media. You can see that consideration of only the purchase price on its own can be a mistake. Then you've got to look at the return on your investment, what's known as the ROI. This is typically expressed as a percentage of your investment, but you might just prefer to have a final dollar figure. I'll work out both for you today. So what kind of things actually make up ROI? There are three types of things. Things that save you time, that is, your time. Things that save you money, in other words, operational costs, in particular, wages for your staff. And things that improve your standards. I go into each of these in detail in other videos because we've actually studied and measured these results. We don't just hope or guess that they'll be better, but we've actually measured them. Today though, I'll just use the results of those studies for the purpose of these ROI calculations. Right, let's get into it. I've taken an example of a typical practice seeing 150 patients per week and one seeing 300 patients per week. You can just scale these if your practice volume is significantly different. The smallest practice typically has the greatest fixed overheads, giving the smallest ROI. So let's look at that first. I've put together a spreadsheet so we can look at it together, but don't be frightened off by the numbers. I've done all the hard work for you and I'll explain as we go. If you want a copy of the spreadsheet to play with your own numbers and run past your accountant, just email us and we'll send a copy to you. Let's take a look. So up the top left of the spreadsheet here, you can see the settings for this example practice. New patients per week is 12. Number of patient visits per week, 150. Average visit fee is $40, making a total monthly collection of $25,000 a month. Conversion rate is set to $1 so in other words, this spreadsheet is looking at the fees in US dollars. You can see in this column the calculations for Spinalogic, in this column the calculations for competitor A, competitor B, and competitor B, which has got an outright purchase option. So firstly, you can see we have the purchase cost and then installation fees. There is no installation fee for Spinalogic. The technician accommodation and flight costs, you can see there are none for Spinalogic because we do it all by remote, making global installation effortless. Data conversion fee is certainly charged by some companies, not by either of the competitors we're looking at in this example. And then the monthly leasing fee.
You can see the monthly leasing fee for Spinalogic is lower, certainly in the first year, than for each of our competitors in this example here. Hardware purchase costs, similar, somewhat less for Spinalogic. But one place you'll notice a big difference is here in the monthly consumable media. And you can see that this is for things like the swipe cards for patient identification or fob keys for patient identification. And you can see these become quite substantial costs. With some of our competitors' products, for Spinalogic, it's really very insubstantial. Now, annualized and averaged over 4 years, you can see that Spinalogic is costing just under $7,000 a year, where each of our competitors are approaching $8,000. Compared to itself, of course, Spinalogic offers no discount, but compared to competitor A, you can see that Spinalogic is 17% cheaper, competitor B 19% cheaper, and the outright version of competitor B 12% cheaper. But of course, you don't have to pay $25,000 up front.
Now let's consider your returns. As I said, I'm not going into details about how we calculated your time and money savings here. That's covered in 2 other videos. For now, let me just say that these savings are real and measured in actual practices. They're not just hopes or guesses or estimates, but they're actual real savings that we've seen in practices where we have installed the Spinalogic software. Let's take a look at that spreadsheet now.
Let's consider your time savings first. So here you can see from our studies, these 2 numbers shaded in blue have come from the result of our research on average time and money savings made in real practices that have installed Spinalogic. And I'll cover in detail how we calculated those in other videos. But for now, let's just take those numbers. The average saving of time is 3.5 hours of your time, of the doctor time, per week, per 100 patient visits per week. Now, in our example here, the practice is seeing 150 patients a week. So that makes a total saving of your time of 5.25 hours per week. If we value your time at $100 an hour, it allows us to put a money value on your time, which is a convenient way of being able to measure it. And if we value your time at, say, $100 an hour, which I think is pretty conservative, then that works out to your time saving per month in dollars as $2,200 a month, which, once you subtract the cost of Spinalogic, leaves you with being $1,700 in front, which as a percentage of your gross collections is 7% of your gross collections, which is a lot. 7% of the money that you collect from your fees, you would save in terms of your time. In terms of your actual bottom line, of course, money is what it's about. So you can see here that the average saving of practices we've installed in is just under $2,000 per month per 100 patient visits per week. So that makes, in this case where we're seeing 150 patients a week, predicted saving of $3,000, subtracting the cost of Spinalogic, and making the ROI as a percentage of your gross collections as 9%. So you can expect that the actual dollar savings that you will make will be 9% of your gross collections at 150 patients a week, which of course is very substantial. If we add those 2 figures together, then it works out to be fully 18% of your gross collections that you will save every week, every month, every year by installing Spinalogic. Annualizing that works out to an annual return on your investment of $55,000 for your relatively small $6,500–7,000 outlay.